Alright, this is day 31 of learning to read Chinese, and today's topic is 建筑. 建筑 architecture. So all these words are various types of buildings or architectural features, particularly in reference to traditional Chinese architecture. Our first character, Ting. Ting refers to a pavilion, a booth, a kiosk, a gazebo. Basically any of these structures that have a roof but no walls. Can also refer to anything well-balanced, erect, and right because of the way that these structures stand so upright. Xie. Xie is a pavilion or a house on a terrace. So it's it could be, I mean, this is pretty similar to Ting from the last one, but the difference that makes it xie is the fact that it's raised on a platform. It's got legs over the water. It could also be a closed structure like a house, but as long as it's on a platform like that, it's called xie. Lou. Lou is a building of 2 or more stories, and ge is a pavilion that usually has 2 stories. Often used for libraries or government cabinets. Character also can refer to a woman's chamber or boudoir, a rack or a shelf. But in this context, we're talking about these. Loge is often taken together to refer to buildings and pavilions. Originally, there was a pretty clear distinction between them, being that the ge is usually 2 stories, pretty regular rectangular shape, where the ceiling, dominant feature, and the lower level is open. And Lou is kind of more uniformly dense, can have more levels. It's not as regular and rectangular. So originally there was a difference, but as time went on, the 2 words kind of became interchangeable and collectively refer to all of these multi-story buildings as Loge. Si. Si is a temple, monastery, or mosque. In ancient times, it also referred to government houses. But here, Si Miao is again 2 similar words taken together. Oh, this got messed up. Miao is a temple or ancestral shrine. It could also be an imperial hall. But together we call temples, monasteries, often call them Si Miao together as a compound word. Dian. Dian is a palace or a hall in a palace. So specifically about the imperial courts, these big huge buildings with big huge grounds. Dian. Lang. Lang refers to a corridor, a veranda or porch, or rooms around a hall. So specifically is like a hallway, but it's traditionally these open air covered walkways are called lang. Had these surrounding every house. Kind of a bridge between the indoor and outdoor space. Peng. Peng. This picture is the plant, the fleabane, which is called peng. But this also can refer to dense, flourishing plant growth. Can mean disheveled. And also peng is a classifier used to count puffs of smoke or clumps of plants. Men is a door, a gate, an opening, a valve, a switch, any sort of entry point. Men can also refer to the way of doing something, a family or a house, a sect or school of thought, a class or category, like in taxonomy. Men is the measure word that we use for classifying large guns like Paul. We would call it 一门炮, a cannon. Lessons, subjects, 一门课 are branches of technology. Men. And this character is pretty obvious even now that this is just a drawing of a door. B. This is a plant called the biba. It's kind of a type of pepper. It's used in medicine. But B. Originally this character was used to refer to bamboo and wicker fences. But nowadays we use a different character for that. Instead of the one with the grass on top, we use the one with the bamboo 竹子头. So this character now is pretty much only used in this word, 蓬壁. 蓬壁. For the sake of the poetry, we've split this in two, and then we've split this in two, and kind of reshuffled them. It happens a lot in verse. But the word is 蓬壁, which refers to like a poor person's humble home. Nowadays, this character doesn't really have any other meanings. Hu can also mean a door, similar to men, or a family or household, when they take the census and they register each household. So, 门户 together. Because each of those words have those meanings. 门户 is a door, a gateway, a portal, a faction, a sect, or a family. 门户 this is often also used to a family's status. Like if you say 门当户对, it's referring to the concept, the idea that two partners in a couple who are to be married should be of comparable social status or socioeconomic status. That idea is called 门当户对. 丈 referring to a husband is 丈夫. 丈 can also refer to any elder man, and in old times this is a unit of 10 尺, which is approximately 3.3 meters now. 丈 is also used to measure land. It could be like length or area. 室 is a room. Like a bedroom is called 卧室. 卧 is lying down, right? It's the room where you sleep. 室 could also be your home in general, work unit, like your department or your team for a project, that sort of work unit. A family or clan. Okay, so in this context of 丈室, we're using the definition of that unit of length.
Yeah.
So 丈室 is a room that's only about
3 meters.
绿 means green, the color green. It's also got another pronunciation, 路, but this is only used in the names of places. It doesn't have any meaning by itself. 路 is like in 鹿林. 鹿林 is a place, is a mountain. So in that instance, you don't read it 绿林, it's 鹿林. But just in some of those proper nouns. 绿 窗 is a window So when it says 绿窗, I guess this is how when you have a window, you look out the window and it's green outside. 府 is a seat of government, government archives, an official residence or mansion. 地 can also refer to a residence of a high official. So passing grades and imperial examinations. This is not a meaning that's used anymore, but in older times it would be pretty frequently. Most commonly, 第, we use it for order. So like first, second, third, 第一, 第二, 第三, when you list things. Or a grade. So here, because these two characters have a similar meaning, you put them together. 府邸 府邸 referring to a mansion, house, or an official residence. 别 means separate, other, can also mean do not. Like when you tell someone not to do something. 别这样, don't be like that. It's got another reading. 别 is to insist on or refuse to compromise. This is specifically used in words like 别扭. 别扭, when people can't see eye to eye, don't get along, just always butting heads. 别扭. Or just somebody who's really stubborn and won't compromise and difficult to get along with. 别墅 when you put these two together, this character 树 doesn't even have any meaning by itself at all. And 别 also doesn't have that meaning by itself. But when you put them together, 别墅 refers to a country house or a villa. 画 means to draw, paint. 画 is also the noun for a painting, drawing, or illustration. Can be to sign, like sign your name, signature. Gesticulate, if you're drawing any sort of shapes in the air, or if your machine is tracing a path, any sort of thing like that is also 画. Plan or plot, or a horizontal stroke in a Chinese character in calligraphy, although that is also used. These two interchangeably could be also called 笔画, like this. In this context, we are talking about 画栋雕梁. So 栋 is a ridgepole, these beams in the supporting beams for roofs of buildings. 栋 is also the classifier for houses and buildings. So when we're talking about 一栋楼 is one building. 梁 is a beam, structural beam. It could be a roof beam. It could be a bridge. 梁. So 栋梁 together, we're talking about these beams, structural beams. 画栋雕梁. We're talking about the decorative. This image didn't work. 雕 is carve, engrave, sculpt. It could also mean shrewd or crafty, or refer to birds of prey. In this context, we are using the meaning of carved or engraved. So there's decorative carvings in the beams of the buildings. Here's when they're all painted, all beautiful and colorful. We've got more examples of 画栋雕梁, these fancy carvings, ornate paintings, decorated, highly decorated. See, these are like the carvings, they're relief, And these are painted. Pretty nuts. Very elaborate. So that's what this is about. Ting. Ting refers to a hall, especially a reception hall. It could be your living room. Normally we'd call this 客厅, or 客 for guests to sit. Be an office or department or public house. Ting. So here we've got a concert hall, here we've got a living room. We use ting for both of these. Yuan. Yuan refers to a courtyard, a compound, a garden, or an institution. So in terms of architecture, we're talking about courtyards, gardens. So that'd be like the enclosed, especially for the enclosed outdoor spaces. Yeah, but this is also, yes, for institutions. So like you'd say 法院. 法院would be the courts. 学院 would be the school campus, stuff like that. 踏, you got a foot on the side. 踏 means to step on or tread. Got another reading. 踏. This 踏 means fall to rest or hang down. So this is the 踏 in the very common word 踏实. 踏实, which means firm-footed, steady and sure, reliable, or having peace of mind. 踏实. Here, 踏步, or 步. 步 means a step or a pace. I mean walk, march. It's also used to refer to stages in a process or a situation. So then when you put together 踏 and 步, 踏步 refers to set foot or stride upon. So 庭院踏步 is kind of strolling around the halls and the courtyards. Ying. Ying is a shadow, a trace, a reflection, a photograph, a picture, image, film, movie. When we talk about movies, we call them 电影, which kind of literally you could also translate it as electric shadows. But it's a reflection, an image, all those sorts of meanings. Ying. Ping. Ping is a screen or a shield. Ping has also got this other reading, bing. And this bing means to get rid of, reject, discard, protect, keep control, hold your breath, cover, or withdraw. So here you've got like 秉斥, which means get rid of, 秉除, to reject, dismiss, cast away. 屏气 is what you call holding your breath. 屏气 or 屏身, 屏息 could also be taking one's breath. So for those words, those phrases, we read this 屏. Nowadays, you're probably most commonly going to see this in 屏幕. 屏幕 is what we call screens, like the displays of TVs, computers, phones, movie screens. 屏幕. 幕 is a curtain, a screen, canopy, a tent. It could be a headquarters or the office of a military commander. This is kind of a more archaic usage, or an act of a play. 障 means to block, hinder, resist, obstruct, separate, a barrier, or cut off. So even though 屏 and 幕 are next to each other, and 屏幕 nowadays we use to refer to computer screens, in this context of architecture, we are actually talking about screens like divider screens. oftentimes painted, kind of semi translucent, semi opaque. You can sort of see silhouettes or shadows through them. Used to those kinds of screens and dividers, curtains that are used to split rooms when you don't have a wall but you still want a bit of privacy. That sort of thing. Cheng means to bear, to carry, to undertake, take charge, or take responsibility. You would say like 承担责任 for taking responsibility. 承受, when you talk about like the weight of suffering, you know, that sort of weight to bear. It could be a literal weight or a metaphorical weight, emotional weight, any sort of thing like that. Might have something interesting here. Alright, according to here, we got 2 hands on the side lifting up this little guy. So these are apparently originally your 2 hands lifting up, supporting this thing from underneath. Chen. This is, if you see this is on top, 小, small, 土, dirt. So what is small dirt? Small dirt is dust, little specks of dirt that fly in the air. Chen. Chengchen is a word for a ceiling, or for looking at old texts. We're going to be thinking specifically about these like highly decorative, super fancy ceilings, painted, filigreed, however you want to call it. Or maybe about these, also called chengchen, kind of like canopy beds, because they've got a roof over top that I guess would catch the dust, and that's why we'd call it chengchen. 藻 refers to algae or aquatic plants. It also refers to literary grace or embellishment, like flowery prose or magnificent, beautiful colors. You would also use 藻. 井. This is another one where it still pretty much looks like the picture that it was. This is a well, like those pits that you get water out of. And because of this shape, this very highly regular rectangular shape, we also use 井 for neat and orderly. And phrases like 井井有条 for highly orderly things, 井然有序, in good order, that sort of thing. 承尘 is a word for a ceiling. 藻井 literally means algae well, but it's also the name for this specific type of fancy decorative ceiling. In English, this is called spiderweb ceiling. Caisson, that somewhat resembles an algae well, or a well covered in algae. A feature specific to Eastern architecture. 藻井, these decorative sunken ceilings. 篱 is a fence, originally referring to a bamboo wicker or wire strainer, but this together with 把, which refer to any article made out of bamboo strips, which could be a fence, could be a basket, like Bado is a round-bottomed wicker basket. But when you put these two together, liba refers to a fence. Specifically a fence made with bamboo or wood railings. We call it liba. Like a fence made out of metal, we probably wouldn't call that, because this has got the little bamboo heads on top. Liba fence. Chu is a post, pillar, or column, or anything shaped like a column. Chu. Another reading. Chu. When you read it, chu, this means to support, stop, or lean on. Same as this character here, which is also read chu and means lean on. So for the differentiation, you would use this character for that, which has the hand on the side, so it's a physical motion, whereas this is an architectural feature. You would call this chu. But when you're using it as interchangeable with that other character, you would pronounce it the same way as the other one, chu. Chuang. Chuang could be a stake, a stump, or a pile. So any of these, the top of it is flat. It'll stick, made out of wood or rock. See, these are called meihua zhong, because traditionally there were 5 of them, which is kind of similar to the shape of a plum flower. Meihua zhong are these that, when you practice martial arts, you stand on top of them, practicing your balance and your footwork. Zhong is also used for counting items. Xian. Xian is the side of a ship or aircraft. So this on the side here is for boats. Duo is the helm or rudder, so for steering a boat. Xian duo. Fu. Fu means to support, help, protect, or hold on. Like when you hold on to something for stability. Fu. Kao means to lean against or on, stand by the side of, come near to, you would call kao jing. Depend on or trust. If you say somebody's trustworthy, you would say ke kao. Ping. Ping can also mean to lean against or rely on, base on, proof or certificate. If you say something like, what basis have you, or like who gave you the right to something, you'd say like 凭什么, like how dare you. It can also mean no matter what, how. Like in the dictionary here, for that, the example given is 陪你跑得多快，我也赶得上. So like no matter how fast you run, I'm still gonna get you. 凭. So this is kind of used for those sorts of basis in a more abstract sense, where 靠 is generally very literal for leaning on something physically, or at most abstract would be like emotionally, and it's not really for concepts and logic like ping is used. Lan is a fence, a railing, a pen, corral, kennel, any sort of enclosure like for animals, a hurdle, a column or box in a table of text or data. Lan. You often hear langan used for railings, like a railing on your stairway or bridge or such that you hold on to for safety and stability. Generally meant for keeping things in and preventing them from escaping or falling out. 跳. It's got an eye on the side, so you know it's about looks. And they're looking far away or looking sideways, gazing into the distance or a sidelong glance, either or. Wang means also gazing into the distance, but Wang has the additional, very common figurative meanings of looking towards something like hope and expectations. Wang can also mean to visit, like to pay a visit, or a distinguished individual, like a highly admirable or famous person, because we are also gazing into the distance up at them, looking toward them, and maybe hoping that we could one day be like them. Wang. So, 篱笆, a fence. 柱桩, referring to columns and pillars and posts. It's 弦舵, about the sides, the rudder of a boat, against which you can depend on, you can lean. And this is 平栏眺望. You can, the railing, when you're at maybe the roof of a building or something, and you lean against the railing and you look out into the distance. That sort of idea. So that's our chapter on architecture. I'm going to review some of these. If you look up any of these things, you can find more fancy pictures of different historical architectural landmarks all throughout China, even outside of China. A lot of, like, in Korea and Japan, a lot of similar features, similar architectural traditions. It's the spread of the cultural influence. And I'll see you next time.